I'm gonna try to never say we're live ever again. I watched a stream where a middle-aged man started it up and immediately said we're live, and I heard my own voice in it, and I said, I'm never going to do that again. I'm not going to start a stream by saying we're live. I think the fact that the stream started is proof. I think the proof is in the pudding. There's I'm still trying to figure out what the fucking millennial pause is. People are trying to criticize the millennial pause. I guess like young people, they just like start talking before they know the thing's recording, and you just catch them all mid sentence, and they're like, "Yeah, that's normal. It's like what we do." I want to see a red light turn on. I like the starting early and then feeling like when I'm going live for real, it's like I just switch over the scene. That's so much better. Feels so good. Yeah, you wait for the recording to start. Like, because you don't just want to have the recording cut in on you, be like mid-sentence. Because, like, shit works slow. Anyways. I got to thank Swamp Zeus for the T1 sub. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, so we're doing study time in today. Hey, Dammy Killer. Hey, Kim. Check out everybody in the chat. Max Kalaman. A lot of familiar faces. I'm getting to be real familiar. I like being on this stream now for like over a month. I know who the regulars are. Studies, again, yeah. Miaushan. I've seen your name before. Yeah, so I got myself this girl with the blue hand. I don't know why her hands are blue. But I found this image on the internet and I thought it looked cool, and I think this is a great study material right here. Must be Monday for her. Poor circulation. Yeah, maybe. It looks like she's been maybe like working with dyeing clothing. What do you think? Should get it looked at. Yeah, maybe she's an artist and she's been working with like a blue chalk or maybe some like Conti crayon. Colloidal silver use. You see this? Tegel, hello. Very Vermeer. Girl with pearl earring. Kind of definitely reminds me of that. It's going good. I'm going to get started on this study today. I did leg day today for like one of the first times in like 5 years, and I'm still recovering like 2 hours later. Like my hands feel shaky still. Like I am the whole goal of all this like getting to the gym and doing exercise stuff is to like not feel that way, to actually be able to like exert myself physically, like exist as a physical person, and then not be ruined for an entire day because I like ran a little bit to like cross the street fast, or like, you know, I lifted something heavy and now I need to like cancel all my appointments for the day. You'll all get there, don't worry.
Oh, no.
Oh God.
It'll happen to you.
Oh no.
I know some of the people in the chat here are pretty young. You don't know what it's like. Everyone I've met in their 20s is like, oh, I'm so old. And yeah, when you're like,
I always see that.
When you're staring down at like 40 and you've been around for like twice as long on the earth for twice as long as people in their 20s, you're like, yeah, no. Now I understand why it sounded so ridiculous when I heard it, when I said it, why people gave me the eye when I was like that age. Let's see. I'm feeling kind of lazy. This idea of trying to build up an actual drawing here feels wrong to me today. Like the way I want to build this up is kind of like the way that I did in the past, where I'm like just kind of doing like larger value blocks to kick things off. That feels pretty good to me. I had a really good luck with that lasso tool, the lasso. trying to think of like how this should go. Something about defining each of these blocks just as like, it's possible to do this like just by brushing in strokes like this, but having like the really clean edges for them feels like a little bit of a luxury. Day ruined from a light jog. Yeah, I mean, basically. One of the things I've often daydreamt about is the ability to go for a light jog. Like, kick around the neighborhood, just go see some stuff on my feet, just like jog around the neighborhood and like, go see some people walking their dogs or whatever. And like, have that be like a normal thing that I do in like the middle of the day. I know it's like that's pretty low aspiration on the aspirational totem pole, but like that to me sounds like something that is like the sort of thing I've daydreamed about for a long time. Never been able to do it. Like just being out of shape for basically my whole life, and then also like having like kind of weak ankles.
I don't think that's a low goal. I mean, like some people want to go on walks and like kind of get out and then start their day.
Yeah, no, I mean going on walks and stuff, I can do it. I go on bike rides all the time, but there's something about running. Like I have like I'm naturally very flexible or whatever. So like some of my joints, they're just not so strong. So unless I've like strengthened the muscles around them, I feel like I'm really running the risk of like injuring myself by running. Like it hurts in the bad ways in places it's not supposed to, especially like in my ankles. So I need to like strengthen my legs a lot, I think, in order to feel like I can run confidently. And then it'd be great. And then I also need to get my wind up. Oh my God, I've never had stamina. It's one of the reasons leg day is so dang hard for me. Got to run on your toes more. Yeah, maybe. I just feel like there's something in the whole chain that's like kind of weaker than it should be. So I'm out there doing the strength training, getting some cardio in, and then who knows? Maybe I'll be strong enough to go on a light jog one of these days. That'd be sweet. All right, so the lighting on this thing is like insanely dark. So I think I just like I want to get. I like the black background. I think I'm gonna do the thing I do where I like roughly paint in the background with the texture brush. And just get that going really early because it's throwing me off trying to like get a sense of this whole thing.
So I guess your approach is like kind of like get base colors, not base colors, but like get the base tone. Like
yeah, this is. I mean, this is something I've done a few times. Like trying to just like get the sort of base like layout of like blocks of value. Because that gives me like, and then if I from here, it's like this is a super simplified version of the image, right? Like, and it's got some issues too. There's parts about it that are inaccurate, and then there's also the fact that it is like just like basically three colors. We got like a medium gray, a dark gray, and a black. And most of the character is not like really subdivided Most of the figures not really subdivided correctly at all. Proportionally, things are off. But, like, it's a hell of a lot closer than this, right? So the fact that we're, like, we are light years closer to being where we want to be just by, like, getting this stuff in. And from here, we have something that's wrong that we can make corrections to. So let's say I wanted to define, like, where that yellow scarf is a little bit. Oh my god, my hand is shaky today. I can add to it a little bit. There I am. Okay. Every time we kind of like break this up into smaller and smaller pieces, I get a little bit of a clearer sense on like, hey, what's working, what's not working. Like, this is all in service of helping me see what I'm looking at. I mean, the presumption is that like what I'm looking at is right over there on the left, and I shouldn't need any assistance in figuring out what's happening because I can just look at it with my eyes. But I don't think that's the experience any of us are having. There might be someone out there who they just like look at a reference and they just see it all the way through. And that everything about it makes sense to them. And they can reproduce it perfectly. All of the proportions of it, it just all makes sense exactly. Right? But I think that most of us, when we look over at this thing, it's like trying to figure out what's different between the two of them. And what's important about those differences is a real challenge. So the goal is not necessarily to get it so that we are closer in terms of, hey, I need to make sure that this is like getting closer for the viewer. A lot of it's just for me. Because I don't even really consider there be a viewer on the other side of this. This is very much just a process of me trying to figure this out for myself. I think I'm going to bring the whole thing up a little bit. Milan Chica is asking, what inspired you to do the Angels, Pete? Was it something that you always loved and wanted to create? I started Angelarium back when I was in college. I had a friend who had like a dictionary of angel names, and they shared it with me, and I thought, oh damn, that's really cool. And I tried to make some characters inspired by the names, and they just came together really easily. Like, Angelarium was created largely out of like the feeling that it was simple. It was a simple and easy process for me, and I understood that it was probably not like a simple and easy thing for everyone to do, but I had a kind of a naturally easy time with it, and I just wanted to dive into it. And then once I did, I ended up with a whole bunch of art that everyone else around me liked. I enjoyed making it. People around me were excited to see it. People thought it was fresh and interesting. And so, it was just easy. And like I had kind of an interest in the subject matter just from like anime and stuff, like drawing from the same well. But it really came about from a sense of it just being like simple and obvious to me. and the realization that like it wasn't necessarily simple and obvious to everyone. So this is like the advice that I give to people when we talk about, you know, like what kind of art they should be making. You know, try to get them to make something that feels simple and obvious to them, because what's simple and obvious to them is probably not simple and obvious to other people. And like we don't often have a good perspective of that. So we're always trying to make something that we think is like going to be impressive to other people, or that's like a good idea. And like I have always been skeptical of that plan. And you know, in my own creative world, it's like I've really never relied on trying to come up with ideas that I thought were clever or cool or like exciting for other people. It was really just a matter of like, you know, it tickled me a certain way, and it seemed like I just had a clear vision for like how I should go about it. And yeah, you know, if I had been forcing it, I think that I probably wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been as popular. Because you can always tell when someone's kind of forcing an idea. And like, you know, if somebody will tell you about the big thing that they want to do, they'll tell you about the big project they want to do. And you can always tell, like to a certain degree, like if they're kind of kidding themselves and if they're kind of like, you know, they're not 100% on it, but they want to be. They think that it's a good idea, that somebody else is going to like it. And it's not necessarily their thing, but they think it's like, hey, this is what people are going to love, and this is what people are going to know me for. It's tough. It's tough because like you always want people to succeed, but also you don't want to like have to sit through some pitch from somebody that is like a thing that they don't even really like. It's very difficult to like pick something that you're going to commit a lot of time and attention to if you're going to make a big project. And there's no easy way of like making a choice, and there's no one who can make the choice for you. So you have to learn a lot about yourself to understand like what is valuable to put your time into, because it's an entirely personal choice. So now, after just a few more minutes of kind of subdividing this up and adding a few more layers of value to it, like, I think, you know what? I was thinking that maybe I should break these up a little bit. Like, every time I kind of hit one of those milestones, I'm going to make a new layer. That way I can go back and, like, examine the layers and, like, share them for people who are curious about the process of me making these. Because it's easy to, like, keep it all separate in the PSD. So I'm just going to like make sure I get a little bit of satisfaction over here with some of these last couple of features, and then I'm going to break out the layer and have it be its own separate thing. That way we can create a little bit of archaeology for the whole through the whole PSD here of the process. So what do you guys have on your mind? Delmonts is asking me if I block everything in, grayscale before I go to color. I typically do. I typically don't. Like, when I'm doing studies, it's been really useful to block things out in very geometric ways and, like, keep it really blocky. Which is not what I do when I'm making, I'm going to take Oop, I'm gonna take this block of light out here. Weird little
Hello.
artifact. Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, do you ever post that Frazetta entry that you did?
Yeah, I did. I posted it in my sketchbook.
Oh,
Or you mean onto socials?
yeah.
Nah.
Oh, dude, I thought that piece was awesome. I was surprised
I-
that you didn't post it on Twitter. I was curious how it was going to do.
I haven't posted anything in like months.
Why?
I don't know. Because I hadn't finished anything new in like months.
Oh,
But that changed. That changed like 2 days ago. So I'm starting to reformulate a plan for posting again. So I will fix that font up and post it.
looked finished to me. I don't know.
Probably is finished enough. Yeah.
I thought it looked great.
Thanks, man. No, I've been I kind of really dropped off the face of the earth a bit with my online socials, just because I was struggling with this one painting for literally months, and I finally it's out the door. It's good enough. It's something that I've freed myself from, like Dobby getting a sock and becoming a free elf, so I can I can move forward with my life. It feels like so. It's yeah.
Yeah, like having a dedicated release cadence that like I kind of forced myself to stick to, or at least kind of like rubber band back to, has what I think is what prevented me from having that experience like really often over the years.
Yeah.
Because I yeah, that feeling of like having a painting that you think is worth finishing, but also is not finished. Ugh. Can be a real bear.
It was bad, man, and I like every mistake I could have made on this painting. I made in that, like the amount of like, but I'm grateful for it, honestly. Like I feel like going through this period of just grinding away at this thing has made me really motivated to learn how to shape my process in a way that it doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's seared into my mind now. It's imprinted, like the memory of how I felt during these couple of months, and I'm pretty keenly motivated to not feel like that ever again, if I can help it.
I feel like the one thing I attribute to like doing commercial work was that I feel like the strict deadlines and the kind of requirement to have a minimum bar of quality, like combined, forced me to develop a lot of process stuff when I was doing freelance illustrations.
Right.
Like I didn't do a ton of them compared to people who like that was their whole thing. But like having like doing like maybe somewhere between 50 and 100 of them over the course of several years. Like I mean that's a decent amount. Like you do 100, even if you did like 60 freelance illustrations and all of them required you to like hit milestones, like you can't help but like develop a bit of a process to make sure that you are how to at least hit a minimum bar fairly consistently.
Yes. Yeah, and that's something I never had to develop. Like I've always got to play in this sort of I could follow whim. I could follow. I didn't have to reach any
You thought
hard
you were playing in a
deadlines.
meadow and you were dancing straight into a fever swamp.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah. And yeah, because like I look back at just the amount of mileage that I've done, and it's not a lot. Like in terms of things I've pushed to completion, I've done a lot of bullshit, sketching and playing and a lot of stuff that I think is useful too. But in terms of actually bringing things to like a finished state, it's probably less than, like, in terms of like full paintings, less than, I want to say 20.
Yeah.
Maybe even 15.
I mean, I feel like I've hounded you about that a little bit. Like
You definitely have, yeah.
I'm sure that when you think about me, you think about that I'm like staring you down, asking when your next painting's gonna be finished.
No, yeah, I definitely have the Pete Mohrbacher Jiminy Cricket conscience hanging over my head of I can hear your voice. Just be like, dude, you just gotta.
Hey, when you gonna make 10 more of these?
Yeah.
It's like I think a thing I might have actually said to you.
Yeah, I think those words exactly. Which is like the piece I did for the like the Frazetta contest, like that I did in 2.5 days.
Oh fuck, dude, it's possible.
So it's like I've been grinding away at this, like I think it was like 3 months sunk into this painting. I've been on the side like trying to start workshopping ways that I can not do that again. And I'm seeing and like I'm working on a painting now. I'm going to be doing the like the folktale submission tomorrow.
Nice.
And I started it yesterday, and we're going to see how far I can get with that.
Nice. Yeah, Sean Murray's going to join us tomorrow. Seems like.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, his work's so cool.
Yeah, he's such a good fit for. I want to see how many of these I can get a special guest judge, and like, I honestly like the way I've been doing them, kind of like fly by night, to come up with like a prompt, like live on stream, and then just be like, all right, that's the thing, and then upload it like later that day or the next day. If I could plan ahead and book guest judges and stuff, the whole thing would probably be better. So,
Right.
I wanted to get Sean in part to make sure that like I was pushing myself to get like the bar of what was expected out of these weekly challenges to up a little bit in terms of like being better prepared and making sure that like the experience was cool for people who joined it.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. Like it's like when Sarah joined last week, that was so exciting for myself and a lot of people, I bet.
And she's really cool. Yeah, she's just like getting back from a trip. We'll see if we can get her over here. We can hang out and splash around in the pool a little bit.
Is that like is that Florida slang for something, or is it literally?
I have a
Splash.
I have a pool in my backyard, and we just like never
Nice.
have anybody over. Like Sarah and I have talked. Like we've hung out like a bunch of times, and we're like, I'm like, well, we're pretty boring, and she's like, yeah, me too. I was like, yeah, but you guys you see friends and go hang out and go to bars or whatever. She's like, no. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, neither do we really. It's mostly just me and Sean hanging out, And there's like, I can't get any of the art community around here to go and like do anything. She's like, oh yeah,
Oh, really?
we just don't do anything. I was like, you do live like down the street. Just like come over to my house. We'll like hang out in the pool or whatever. She's like, yeah, we should. And then we like never do it. We're just like, both of us are always just like, well, I guess I'll work until 8 p.m. and now I'm tired, and then not have a social life. Like that's a lot of people I know. That is their whole thing. That's like they live for working. Like even the people who work for themselves have that lifestyle a lot. And I've
Yes.
been on a mission for a long time to try to be better at like living a life. Just seeing people doing stuff, like enjoying the experience of being a human being a little bit rather than like existing for the purpose of like completing tasks. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm permanently hyping myself up for this. I've never pulled it off, like barely at all. So I'm still making attempts at it because one of these days I'll figure it all out.
Yeah, I think a lot of adults can like relate to that. Like I think it's because comes with adulthood. It's like sometimes you lose yourself in work and you forget you have friends. And you're just like, oh crap.
Well, also, I mean, you relocate to a different city in like your 30s or whatever, and it's like, everybody's kind of got their own thing. I'm not like, especially if you're like not, if you don't have a job, and you're not going to school, and like, where do you meet people to like be friends with? It's like always a thing. Like I've been able to make tons of friends over the years through like the art community, but like I'm not going to conventions anymore either. And so there's like finite number of people to like meet and hang out with and stuff. But I've met some people, but like even the cases where I meet them, we all kind of have the same problem. We're all just like homebodies who work a lot, and it's a real trick to try to figure out how to like turn like to create regular social events. It's something that doesn't happen automatically. It's not for free. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have a tight circle up where you're at? Or is it just you and the lady?
Like we have some, like in terms of like friends who are in the artist sort of niche.
Mhm.
No, but like we have like friends that we see every now and then. One thing that we found is useful is like we do like a bi-weekly scheduled D&D session.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
So that's like
just that.
yeah, it's nice because there is some built-in consistency and there's kind of like an objective. And
Yeah.
when you have a very objective-based life, it feels good that you're, like one thing I found pretty difficult when I'm especially being like self-employed, feels like every waking minute of every day could be
Yeah.
used in some useful way that is an investment that feels like it's important.
100%.
And so it's really difficult to justify like not doing that in a way it feels like it feels useful to do, but I can see how it can get out of hand over the long term.
Yeah. I mean, especially like, right now I'm going through a little period of like intensity because, I'm building a new business and I've like getting started on a lot of new activities and stuff. But yeah, but like, it's like, okay, so that dies down and now what, It's like it's almost easier to just keep booking more and more projects in rather than to like figure out what to do with spare time in some cases.
Yeah, well, I've noticed this about you is that it seems like you every time I talk to you, it seems like you have a new like plan or a new
Yeah, I got
like,
schemes.
I feel that. I agree.
I'm always scheming.
Yeah, scheming. That's the word.
I like scheming. I think that's the reason why like yeah, when we were having this meeting with the WordPress guy. He's like, how long has this Huckleberry thing been a thing? And Dustin's like, oh, we got the website up a month ago. He's like, really? It looks like a real thing. I'm like, it's not my first rodeo. I'm always plotting and scheming. I always got a new thing launching, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
booting up a new thing, having a new business, be like, yeah, by this date we're going to be like doing this, kind of business or whatever. Everyone around me is always like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're on a new thing again? Like, how? I'm like, because that's like what I like to do is like make new things.
Yeah.
I don't have a weekly D&D game, so, it's like if I'm going to min-max something, it's going to be like building new businesses.
Yeah, new game plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is something fun about starting something new.
Getting into a new enterprise and like having
New enterprise and new fixation, and like, well, it's like the business version of getting obsessed with road design, like you guys were talking about. Like it's just something to sick your hyperfixation into.
Daniela Ivanova is saying Spiridon actually creates annual events for artists here in Germany. I mean, I've thought about that as like one more fucking thing to like add on is to like create some sort of like art event or something. I'm like, oh, I wonder if we should do like a Huckleberry, like I don't want to do not a convention. Do not want to create one of those. I don't even really want to create I don't want to create a live workshop. But I'm just wondering if like art community members get together in a place in physical space at some point. Might be nice. Just an excuse for a bunch of people who all are kind of in the same mindset, the same community to like have an opportunity to like hang out in person. Might be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what form that takes. Don't really have a vision for it yet.
Yeah, because I mean, you've run in-person workshops before. I assume have you ran a convention before? You seem to be very.
No, I have no intention of ever doing it.
No.
Conventions have so many moving parts and so many people involved. I couldn't imagine doing it.
Yeah.
Bobby Chu, if you're listening, Lightbox Expo is all yours. Like, I am going to make my own schoolism, but I am not going to make my own Lightbox Expo. Not a fucking chance.
Yeah, no, because I heard like artist event, and I was like, yeah, something like Lightbox, and then you said not.
No, not like Lightbox. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about this when I was like floating around the pool yesterday. I was like, okay, like what if it's like I always think, oh, it'd be fun to get some friends together and we like go rent a resort, not a resort, a like an Airbnb. There's a bunch of these giant mansions in my town that are just Airbnbs. You can go rent like a big ass beach mansion with 6 bedrooms or whatever. And so if you pooled again to a bunch of people together, you could go and rent one of these things. And it's like not much more than it's not more per person than like a regular Airbnb.
Yeah.
But everyone would be staying in a cool ass beach mansion together.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And so I'm like, okay, well, no one ever wants to volunteer to be the person to put one of these things together. I certainly don't want to just like come up with an excuse that causes me to have to do a bunch of logistics and also spend money. So, like, what if it was I create a thing and I just set up all the plans for it and be like, okay, well, here's the date, here's the home, here's the agenda, and like anybody who wants to go to this thing, like just give me $1,200 and I'll just we'll just show up on these dates, and that's like it, and we're all gonna be, and it's gonna be like everything's there, or like maybe it's even cheaper, maybe it's like $600, and like there's a big ass beach mansion and no one needs to like finagle on dates and figure out stuff and bounce it back and forth, and it's just like if you can't make it, just come next year or whatever. And just have it be a thing, and then I price it in a way where whatever bullshit I get wrapped up in, whatever bullshit I end up handling to do it, everyone else is basically just paying for me to go.
Right, yeah.
So like I just price it in a way where it like everyone else who's coming covers the entire cost of the thing, and but they don't need to actually like make any choices other than whether or not they're going to throw the money in and go. Because I mean that's what I would want. I'm thinking about what I would want. Like if somebody said like, go to this website, put your credit card info in, pay $600, and then be in this town on this date, and there's going to be a bunch of artists who are in a big beachside Airbnb, hanging out, drinking beers, like sometimes relaxing, sometimes working on projects to, like side by side, like doing painting and like enjoying a little vacation time together. Like I'd be like, I would definitely consider that. It's a cool idea.
Sounds cool, man.
I was thinking about there was a thing that was in Iceland called Light Gray Labs, that they're like, oh, it's a thing, but like you need to come there with like a plan on what you're going to teach. Like you need to like teach a class to everyone else who's in attendance and like have a project and stuff. It's very formalized. And I was like, and I realized that like the cost of actually going to Iceland and doing all the stuff I'd want to do in Iceland was actually way cheaper than the ticket cost for doing this thing. And so it was not only more expensive, but it was also more of a hassle. But the upshot was that there was a bunch of other artists there. But I wouldn't necessarily know who. It would just be like a crapshoot. Like these people are all theoretically artists, you know? But it would be like a more expensive and more annoying vacation in the process. I was like,
Bad deal.
Yeah, just I think I signed up for it and then I canceled it like almost right away. Like I think something else came up on the date and I was like, wait a minute, I think I just dodged a bullet. That looked annoying. I think I know some people who went and they said they had a good time. But for me, I'd love it when somebody else just like does a little logistics. But I never seem to be able to take advantage of it that often.
Be the one. You could be the initiator.
Yeah, so if I'm the initiator on it, I think I'd be in a decent shape as far as like. If I'm the initiator, I think I'd get to take a little bit of the king's ransom, you know, like get to keep a little, like make it a little cheaper for me, maybe even free for me.
Of course, I mean you gotta recompensate yourself for your
for my time investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an interesting idea, right?
It's cool. Yeah, I don't. Well, it's kind of like one of the things I liked back when I was in university, was doing conferences where we'd all travel together to like some town in the mountains or whatever, and pretend to go learn at a conference center, but really just go hang out in the mountains and drink beer together. Like that was like the best parts of
Oh, dude.
of university.
It was always such a bummer. I'd go to workshops and I'd be like, hey, you guys want to all go like drink beer together? And they'd be like, no, we're here for the talks. And I'm like, Jesus.
Oh my god.
It's like every single time I'm going to an art workshop, everyone's so dedicated to like going to all the talks and stuff. And I'm just like, you don't want to just like do mushrooms and like go check out the city a little bit? They're like,
Dude.
no. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's just me then.
Oh man, I would have been so down. I guess these like the conferences I went to were all like really dry, like cognitive neuroscience talks. So the motivation to get blasted after was, I think, higher.
Yeah. I mean, there was always like some sort of mixer event or whatever, and I was always like just waiting, just like, please, like, let's go to the mixer later where there's like a bunch of beers and people just hanging out, chit-chatting or whatever. Like, that is what I want out of this workshop. I do not want to see the talks. Don't want your tutorials. These are so boring.
Yeah.
You're like, don't you want to see this world-class artist tell you what brush they use? I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't.
Dude, what do you mean? The brush makes the artist, not the artist.
But here's the thing. You guys are all getting the workshop experience right now. Possibly
Yes.
even better. Because most of the people that are presenting, even though they're the best artists in the world, have almost no experience like talking about their work. And so like, and so like when there's these long lulls, instead of people like chit-chatting or whatever, it's literally just, you're watching a guy go like, and then I drew the pouches on the soldier, and a bunch of people all in rapt attention going like, and somebody's in the back taking notes. And I'm always wondering like, what the fuck's happening in here? Everyone paid for this? I thought I was paying to like be in a room with a bunch of artists so we could go get beers. Like, that's what I thought we were all doing. Really? You guys are all here to take notes. Damn. It's weird. I am clearly the weird one in this. Like, I clearly have different priorities when it comes to like being in a room with a bunch of artists.
Yeah.
Well, I'll also take playing a bunch of board games. I'll also accept like, hey, we're all going to like find a bunch of board games, and also some of us are going to be drinking beer while playing the board games. That's also not so bad.
You ever played D&D, Pete?
Back in the day, I used to have a regular game in the back of a game store. It was pretty iconic. There was like this tiny, cramped little room with like no ventilation in the back of like a local game store. And we had Wednesday nights reserved for us. And so no one was allowed to use that like musty ass little room back there besides us on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
And we had that running for a few years.
In my experience, like playing D&D often leads to like playing board games with like creative people. Eventually.
We play, most of my board gaming happens like with the kids these days. Like they're always
Okay.
up for a decent board game, so we've got a little bit of a collection going of some pretty good stuff. And we'll bust it out. There'll be random board game nights over here. Don't really need much of an excuse for it.
Okay.
I gotta maybe figure that out or something. Like, I always feel, I don't know, I always feel a little resistant to setting up like an official board game night. Because anytime there's like a board game night, like the board game's the part that I'm like least interested in.
I keep getting invited to like board game nights by like D&D friends, basically, and it's like I'll usually go and I usually end up having fun, but I'd rather be playing D&D.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think D&D is just the ultimate board game in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a really good D&D session. I think that's part of the reason I haven't like sought it out more. Cuz like I had this experience way back in the day where I had a DM, big fat guy with a fedora and a goatee and a ponytail, just like perfect like model of a tabletop gamer guy. you know, and so it was, but like that wasn't the vibes I actually think I wanted, and like there was a lot of like talking about the politicking and stuff that I just never have gotten into when it comes to like role playing. I'm never quite sure exactly what the part is that everyone is into when it comes to role playing, because maybe I haven't seen it, maybe I haven't seen a good one, and I don't really want to watch other people do it. Plenty of people have recommended Critical Role to me over the years, and I have
No.
zero inclination to watch a bunch of people all get really excited about Dungeons and Dragons.
Critical Role is not really like a good representation of like what D&D is actually like.
Yeah?
I don't know. It's kind of its own thing.
Well, it's like because they're all like professional voice actors, and they're all essentially acting in a way. Like it's more like them shooting a loosely guided improv show versus a
Yes, they
bunch of
all
people
seem
sitting
like
around.
theater kids, and I have an aversion to theater kids.
You're an artist kid, though. You were.
I'm an artist
I
kid.
feel like you would have made a good theater kid.
I don't think I would have made a good theater kid.
He would have been the best theater kid.
There is something about the sort of arm waving nature of theater kids that kind of drives me crazy. Not that I'm not always constantly trying to seek attention for myself. I mean, I am. I recognize that. That's the reality of my identity. But there's a certain type of like wanting to step on stage and swing your hips around and sing show tunes that I just like never quite been able to relate to.
I think I don't think I've ever actually like I'm vaguely aware of the theater kid stereotype, but I don't think I've ever actually interacted with one.
Maybe that's why you have more of a soft attitude about them.
Probably.
Sorry to
But
all
up
the
until
theater
like
kids that are
recently,
listening. I think you guys know who you are.
because I think like
Oh, I got
like
2
voice
Prime
actors.
subs. Okay, my fucking notifications is clearly not making a sound again. Alice Killer. Frick, your name. Alice Killer MP7 is giving me 2 Prime subs. I don't know how you give 2 Prime subs. How do you have 2 Prime subs? That's awesome. Thank you so much. I got to figure out why this thing doesn't make noises at me anymore. Theater kids are fun, but the energy gets sapped so quickly from when I spend time with them. Yeah. Listen.
So that is something sorry. Go ahead.
I want theater kids to live happy, wonderful lives where they able to like be satisfied the way that they are satisfied. I don't want to tell them they shouldn't be acting like that. I just don't want to be in the room while it's happening. I don't feel like that's a controversial thing to say.
What about like a paint and sip night? Like
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
know I got all my artist friends together that were complaining about artist block and let me know if my mic is too loud by the way.
You sound
But
great.
all my friends that were saying I haven't painted in like months, I haven't done anything, I have such artist block. I'm like, okay, cool, come over to my house. You don't know each other. We're just gonna do a paint and sip and let this be ugly. Like, please, I'm gonna get cheap material. I'm gonna get cheap acrylics. Like, we're just gonna throw paint at a canvas. And a lot of them actually went home afterwards and they were like, holy fucking shit, I actually painted. Like, I actually did my own stuff when I got home and I had the motivation to. So I feel like it's breaking through that little bit of friction can help. But D&D is fun. I think we should do like a one shot for the group.
Oh, you think we should do some D&D here on the server?
I've
I
been,
mean, like off stream, obviously, but like like a one shot, maybe once a month.
Hey, listen, if you guys
If
want
anybody's down.
to set up a Huckleberry D&D game, like we can make a room for it and stuff. I'm not 100% against it. Like I said, we weren't going to do a video game streaming room because I wanted to keep it relatively focused, but I think there's something about like having a wholesome creative hangout that I think is probably on brand.
Yeah. And it
I've
gives
actually-
you motivation to like if you want to draw your character, if you like I have been playing a D&D campaign recently, but I'm not into it, to be honest. But I was really into making the character, and I'm
Are they?
I'm
Are the
always
people in
thinking
your?
about
Wait,
posts.
wait, wait. Are the people in your group going to hear this? They're going to find out this is how they discover that you were never into
They
their shit.
they are not artists. They are not artists. They don't listen to this.
Nice.
It's like high school friends. It's mostly I wanted to make friends because yeah, in your 30s, whatever, trying to connect with people. But my friend runs I think 3 different campaigns and they've been going on for years. So I was like, yeah, I don't want that commitment, but can I just do loose one shots?
Yeah.
So usually they last about 3 to 4 sessions, so like 2 months, and then that's it. And if I want to let my character die because I'm over it, I'll do that. Yeah.
So who's DMing?
It's right for here. Ash, would you?
I probably could. I mean, I've been DMing for like a while. I'm already kind of running a DM for some people in this server, or a game rather, for some people in this server. Oh god, I don't know if I have time though. But if it's just like a one shot, like once a month, I could probably run some D&D games.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good morning, Jay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Jay.
Oh,
Yeah, there was I met a couple who I was hiring to get some product photography done, and it was just like this creative couple who like were running like a little photography studio out of their house, and I was like, hey, we should hang out sometime. They're like, yeah, I just like couldn't get a fucking thing together. It's like at the point where I circled back on it. I was like, hey, we should do something sometime. They're like, yeah, we need to travel to the UK because my wife's mom's dying. And it's like, ugh, yeah, I'll just hit me up whenever that's not happening. And it's tough. It's tough to like find an agenda to meet new people after a certain age. Outside of like, it is really easy. I still find it very easy at conventions. It's one of the things that I might actually draw me back to conventions, is like the idea of like there being structured social time with people who share similar interests.
You could always do Bumble.
Bumble?
You can,
Oh,
like, meet
Bumble
friends.
for friends?
Yeah, just Bumble Friends. I used to use it.
That seems so weird to me. I don't know why.
Maybe it's weird for like older people.
use it. No, people use that shit, like for real. I know some people in like my immediate vicinity that have used it, and like it's always super hit or miss, but like when it hits, it's apparently pretty dope. But sometimes you really will just get some like really offbeat meetups.
Yeah, I'm a really weird person on there.
Yeah. What happened?
She always asks you for money. Like she always asks you for money. She had a disability, which I was like, so I was nicer to her. But she always asked me for money like all the time, and she wouldn't accept no for an answer. It was so weird. But there's also some good experiences I've had on there too. Yeah.
Wouldn't accept no for an answer. She's like, give me money. You're like, no. She's like, no, seriously, you have to give me money.
Yeah, she wouldn't accept no for an answer. Like I told her like
That's
up to
wild.
like 10 times, and she'd be like, please, and I'm just like, what's happening?
You got robbed, but like politely.
Yeah, and like I was friends with her for almost a year. It was so bad.
Yikes.
I spent a lot of money on her, and I'm like, bruh,
Woof.
wouldn't recommend.
Nah, I'm like stingy as fuck with my money, and so like all my friends just know not to fuck with my money because I don't know. I was raised pretty broke, and so now I'm like a money hoarder, and I think still to this day, even though I've got a reasonable amount of money in the bank account, I won't spend more than like $100 on eating out per month max. Like I don't go to bars, and when I go out to eat, I straight up ask the waiter, I'm like, "What's the best bang for buck?" Straight up, every time. What gets me the most food on the plate for the least amount?
What's the best dollar per calorie here at the restaurant that you work at?
DPC.
Yeah, I don't mind spending money on other people if they're also like willing to like spend it back. Like I have a friend that we like to buy each other like gifts.
Oh,
Like
that's sweet.
that's fine.
That sounds awesome.
But like But it's when it's like one-sided, it gets kind of
Yeah.
old really fast.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I have my weekly splurges every Sunday. Me and my partner, we like go to a bakery that's like famed in the Midwest called Long's Bakery. They're the best donuts, and they like get them hot and fresh at like 8 in the morning. And like that's like something we do, but you won't catch me eating out more than once a week. It's like a big mental no-no.
I
And
think
it's
it's
like-
good that you have the self-control. I think that's good. I used to be like that. Now I'm like,
Oh, it's like okay, so it's turned into like a almost a bad thing. It's a really double-edged sword. Being really frugal with my money has allowed me to work as few possible hours to cover my my necessities and put a little away per month. But it's like now I really struggle if someone was like, "Hey, you need to work a full 40 this week." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" No, I don't. No, I don't. And it's not like it's really not a laziness thing. It's just that I've worked myself into a life where I really have a bunch of free time that I really value because I do something with my free time. And if I don't have to work more, why would I? And that's turned into a dangerous game because if it is, hey, you just have to eat out no times per month or work more, I will just like not eat out. That's like not a problem to me.
Yeah,
So-
we're the same way. And one of the things, circling back to having trouble finding ways to socialize, is that being really cheap, it makes it a lot more difficult to
Oh
socialize.
yeah.
oh, I agree. Yes,
Oh
I agree.
yeah. It's
I spend
rough.
so much money whenever I hang out with friends, and like when I'm with myself, I spend like very little money.
No one wants to sit and drink with me in my house, right? They all want to go and spend $70 on like 4 ounces of liquor. And I'm like, for $70 per person, we could have supplied ourselves with alcohol for the fucking year. You guys are insane. Like it's so silly.
I
But
I
yeah.
like a good. This is part of the reason I like a good dive bar. When there's like a bar that's got like a somewhat okay beer selection and everything's like $5,
Mhm.
like it feels a lot more justified. If you're spending $10 per glass of beer at a bar,
So bad.
it's tough. Like every once in a
just-
while, you're
yeah.
out at a special event or something. It can be justified under extraordinary circumstances, but not like a, hey, it's Friday night, let's go spend $70 a piece, like at the bar, because like tax and tip and everything adds up. You just like, I can't imagine trying to blow $70 a week on beer or snack food or whatever. It's just I'm also with you guys. Like even having a couple of bucks in my pocket, I know that like it's possible to like totally change like how much your life costs by like being cheap.
Yeah.
You just got to shoot out the idea of, hey, let's pregame and then go out.
That's what I do. That's like a thing. Me and my partner, we'll like start at our house and then get picked up. Like I don't. If we like absolutely need to, we'll Uber home. Like,
See,
save
that's
ourselves.
that's the beauty of Pete's idea, to just rent a property, and that becomes your bar.
Okay. Yeah, if I
All
get
right,
down
we
for
got
that.
high class here.
Or you could just move to Philly and pay $5 for a shot of whiskey and a tall beer.
Dude,
plastered for the cheap.
a whiskey and a Pabst, like the Philadelphia.
Yeah, the city
Yeah, I
wide.
know. I'm from Philly.
Nice. Sick.
I mean, for anybody in New York, Peter Dillon, I think it's on like 34th Street and also 40th Street. It's $4 shots. So that's where we go. If we're not going to pregame in somebody's house, that's where we go for sure to like have at least 4 or 5 drinks and then go out and not drink anywhere else because it's like $15 for any drink anywhere.
Yeah, drink prices are ridiculous sometimes.
But
Yeah,
like,
that was one of the things that got me interested in weed, because I was like, damn, it's like cheap compared to drinking.
Just 2 shrooms before you go out. That's it.
Yeah.
You're set for like 4
Like
hours.
every drug is cheaper than alcohol is what it feels like.
yeah,
For sure.
dude. It's because
Well, alcohol-
alcohol is taxed.
Alcohol's expensive, man.
It's taxed. That's why it's expensive. I mean, they're not taxing cannabis yet because it's not federally legal.
I mean, they get hit with a lot of local taxes and stuff.
Sure, state taxes. Yeah, but like now, okay, state tax, and then now you want to tack on federal taxes, and that's then cannabis suddenly becomes very expensive. But anyways,
I think this girl looks a lot less like a troll than she did like 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh, I know how to draw a face. I just need to draw a face on here, and like almost immediately, I was like, yo, I got some real troll problems going on today.
She got that troglodyte gene.
Yeah, dude. Milan, you can spend 15 euro for a normal drink. It's insane. I mean, yeah, like if you're like in a tourist town in Europe, I bet it's crazy. Though, I mean, when I was in Brussels, you know, I felt like it was easy. Go out and get cheap, amazing beers. Still, this face. I'm like noticing stuff as it's getting. When you're zoomed in, it's like it's really tough to tell where stuff is off. But then I'm sure you guys all have much. You're like watching this on a smaller monitor, like on a phone or something, and seeing it from further away. Getting this, it's like all of these mistakes I'm making are probably like even more highlighted.
I mean, the face looks good. It's just that she has a bit of a different expression, but the face doesn't seem totally out of whack for me.
Yeah. This is one of the things I'm going to totally miss if I ever try to like port this all over to traditional media, is being able to use the, I love the rubber stamp tool for repositioning stuff. Because what you do is you hold the Alt key and you like pick like you pick like a starting point, and then you can see like a little preview of like where it's going to end up. And then you just draw in like a silhouette of that one feature, and you can kind of like relocate it a little bit. Like if you just need to nudge something, you can nudge stuff without having it. You can nudge stuff like really effectively without having to like massively repaint it. It's so handy.
That's cool.
Like you can do, you can like, if you want to move an eye or whatever, you can lasso, copy, merge, and then paste and end up with like a patch like this. But you can do the same thing if you have your rubber stamp set to all layers. You can pick a feature, and then you can like manually paint in the patch. And if I think it defaults to like a soft brush, so you got a nice soft edge to the patch, which means that it blends naturally. So if you need to like change the position on some features in a minor way, you can like push an eyeball around on a head without having to go crazy on it. Or like if I felt like the mouth was off by a little bit, just push it over just a little tiny bit. It is off a little bit. I'm just trying to figure out where. Like maybe the whole head's a little long. So I can like nudge it here and then take the patch all the way down to the bottom of the chin.
Feels like your nose is smaller and higher up on the face.
Yeah, is that why the...
But it might also be like the shadows on like her upper lip and chin that are creating a little bit of a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like some of the broader values are also off, and it's like the temptation is to want to go in and try to get like every little additional subtlety and highlight pushed around. But the answer when there's like things look off is usually that there's like some broader balance of value that is like actually the thing that's like departing a lot. And so I found that like
yeah, because your face is in contrast.
Yeah,
like a lot in contrast in the original.
Yeah, going bigger with the brush and like letting strokes cross over the features, I feel like has always been a better move for me when I'm in this kind of situation than like going in smaller.
I need to stop putting ornate weapons in my paintings.
Do you like drawing ornate weapons?
Neil likes drawing ornate anything. If it's like unnecessarily detailed, Neil's like all over it.
Yeah, I do. It's just a pain getting them in perspective. I decided to give this character like a keyblade partway through the like composition, and I'm figuring out like, wait a minute, this is a stupid weapon that's like impossible to hold in like a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the stupid like end of the key is like, it was a sword originally, but I started turning it into a keyblade, and I can't figure out how to like have the weird like thing that sticks out on a key like point in a direction.
Wait, are you like big into Kingdom Hearts?
No, I'm just doing the fairy tale thing.
Oh,
I was
okay,
like reading about Alice, and it's like, oh, she's got like a big key at one point in the story.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I feel like Kingdom Hearts would help.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
get pictures from Kingdom Hearts.
I was looking at reference. They have the characters in like particular poses where like the keyblade kind of works.
Yeah.
And like I didn't do that from like the ground up or whatever. I'm kind of retroactively trying to shoehorn a keyblade into a piece that didn't have a keyblade in it. Feels like it was a mistake.
Neil, are you stuck walking around the house like a grumpy old goat now?
I mean, I was. I think I got better.
That's funny. Yesterday, we were like trying to figure out a gesture thing, and Neil started acting it out, which is something I'd done in the past, and he acted out the grumpy old goat concept.
Yeah.
Can I see the keyblade?
Oh yeah.
Are you streaming?
Yeah,
check.
I'll
Sorry.
do that in a sec. Yeah, this is what I'm working on. I'm just trying to figure out a rough sketch for this character.
Oh.
This
Okay.
is Alice, but like an adventurer.
Oh, that's dope. That's really cool.
No, every time I see you like draw a character, I never see you do like a how do you say, like a sketch. You just kind of like go in with it, you know? Kind of like Kim Jong-ji. He just does the characters without like any underlying construction.
There was a little bit of construction. Like I kind of figured out like I think I started this with like a torso. Added onto it.
Yeah, no.
I
it's
also love how
that-
dynamic that pose is.
Thanks.
Can you post it in the chat?
Oh yeah.
I have a hard time watching streams while I'm on here. I want to see.
No problem.
Where do you
There's a
find?
couple people in chat, Pete, asking where you got your reference from.
Yeah, reference. This is I like it. I've been getting all my references from Pinterest. But if you want to like do these references along with me, go onto the Discord. There's the Discord link, and there's a channel called Today is the Day, and like every weekday I upload multiple reference images, usually an environment and then a figure, and then also our incredible Jake Frames Posh has made up a bunch of mood boards that I've been posting. So if you want to like make something from scratch, and you want to if you want to make an original thing, but you want to like have like a little bit of a starting point, Jake has you covered on that too. So I'm posting little mini mood boards from Jake every single day too.
Shout out Jake. What an incredible lad.
Shout out Jake, OG. This is a fun drawing. Let me pull some on stream.
Also, like some of the entries that are coming together in the challenge are like incredible as always. It's insane.
It warms my heart every time that you guys take extra time to like do the challenges each week. I know it's like everyone wants, like I hope it's also a service, because I want like people to feel like they're that like this is helping them stay on track as far as their creative goals of like making original stuff. And like, you know, the challenge kind of forces you to make like an original drawing, because like most of what I've been doing here is studies. And I'm hoping that the challenges help like push people to also like always be pushing on new painting, working on something for themselves, trying out new things. The thing I don't get about the Keyblade is like, wouldn't the key tines be going the other way?
Yeah, I can't figure out how to do it because the way I've got her arm positioned, like.
No, I didn't think I was gonna do a
pointing
paint
up.
over, but I'm like I just like I want to express this idea and I don't have a better way of doing it.
Right.
Like to me, it looks like her knuckles are like facing this way, right?
Yeah.
And so, like I just always figure that the tines of the keyblade would be going out like in the same direction as like the knuckles. So you'd have like a.
Yeah, but it just looks odd to me with like the tines pointing up. But I guess there's just like.
It's
no
a
solution.
fucking keyblade. It looks weird all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. The answer is yes to that.
And like you need to, I think they have like always a big handle over the top of it because like a key is inherently shaped like big and then a stick and then a thing, right?
Yeah.
So like in order to make it key shaped, it also needs a big handle because you've got to have the head, you've got to have the like the handle of the key also. But then I think the tines would need to be smaller than I made them here.
And they can be whatever size.
But like
Man,
illustrators don't seem to agree on what size a key or a keyblade is supposed to be.
roughly the size of a short sword, I'd think.
I mean, all video game weapons are grotesquely oversized.
I guess. I don't know.
But you're right. The more I try to draw it out, the more I feel like I'm losing the perspective on it.
Yep.
This is one of those things where if I wanted it perfect, I would model it. And I would probably not get around to it, and then I'd probably spend as much time as it takes to model it in 3D, fucking around with it in Photoshop.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This always happens to me whenever I have like it happens to me with bows, like more than anything. I have to draw, if I have to draw like an archer character, it just gives me conniptions. I end up spending as much time on just the bow as I did like the whole character.
Huh.
Because it's just a pain drawing like really ornate symmetrical weapons in perspective.
Man, so I'm like working on Lorcana orders, and some of the art's like really good. John Silver from Treasure Island, he's like always been one of my favorite characters, and now like I want to see him drawn in a different style and just like see what people come up with. I think it would be super dope. He's like, I think Treasure Island revamped would be such an like its own incredible series, and I wish someone would do it.
People really, I keep seeing takes that people are like, actually Treasure Planet was a masterpiece and everyone was wrong.
Wait, did anyone say it wasn't a masterpiece?
I mean, it bombed. And
it bombed?
Treasure Planet?
I mean, I was around well after that was made. Like, I watched it well after it was made.
Oh, yeah, it bombed, and it was like a huge failure for Disney and was like instrumental in having them like close their 2D studios, wasn't it?
Oh, I guess I'm okay.
Well,
I
a
thought
long time ago, though.
That was a long time ago. But it was like a moment where they were like, it was like around the time when Pixar first was starting to be a major influence on the animation industry. And like, it was like Disney took a couple of swings towards the end of their 2D feature. Like, they don't do 2D features anymore. And like, they took a couple of swings at 2D features towards the end of the sort of lifespan of that whole idea. And it was like Treasure Planet and Princess the Frog, I think, were the two that like kind of broke them forever. But I think Treasure Planet was like a big part of them going like, we need to stop trying to do this.
It's a shame that I hear that. I don't know. Like, I always thought Treasure Planet was like a really incredible film. I don't know. I like the character design. I like the voice acting. I mean,
there is something uniquely like of the era about it, where it's like I think like the scene from the trailer was always like guy like windsurfing through the sky or whatever, which is like it's this sort of there's like an extreme sports angle to the way that it's marketed, which is very much like of like peak X Games era. You know, I don't feel like on TikTok you see like the TikTok generation isn't as into like action sports, right?
It's hard to say because like some action sports are bigger than they've ever been, like windsurfing and God, what's the other one where you get pulled on the back of a boat?
Parasailing?
Nope.
I think it's parasailing.
It's
I
definitely
think
not.
parasailing's when you're in the air.
Yep. This is when you're getting pulled. You're water skiing, but wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding? Okay, I mean they might be bigger than they've ever been, but I feel like they have like a smaller cultural impact than like.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
Like there was like a bunch of people who like became like professional rollerbladers or whatever in like the early 2000s.
Wild.
Yeah, and like nowadays you're like if somebody was like, "Yeah, I'm a full-time professional rollerblader," you would wonder what their fucking deal was.
I mean, I have seen like a lot of rollerblading videos on TikTok recently.
Really?
Yeah,
Rollerblades coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming back into style.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry to burst the bubble.
It took me a long time to realize they got uncool. I'm like not on the cutting edge of any of this stuff.
I mean, I don't know.
You're like,
I think
everything. Rollerblades
you know
aren't the coolest thing you could possibly wear on your feet.
I think the internet has done a phenomenal job at making everything cool. Everything is cool again.
Yeah.
And,
no, that's true.
You know, like skateboarding it's like I guess never stopped being like cool, but now it's really cool, and rollerblading is cool, and
yeah, everyone still knows who Tony Hawk is for some reason.
Yeah, and that's true.
Yeah.
Rob Dyrdek.
That was my childhood.
Fantasy Factory was my actual childhood.
Where's Rodney Mullins these days?
That's a name I don't know. LOL.
I don't know that guy either.
I just know like some of the key characters from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater because that was like big at the time when I was working at GameStop when I was a teenager.
Working at GameStop.
Yeah, Dustin. Yeah. That's how Dustin and I actually met, as we worked at GameStop together.
That checks out. Today, like, you brought in like another crazy artist in today, and I got like a chance to chat with him. I'm like, yo, this Discord is more insane every 24 hours. It feels like.
Wait, who was in here?
They kind of wanted to keep themselves on the low.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see if I can remember their.
Wait.
Discord name.
I'm gonna just pop into the members area real quick and see.
If you go into the moderator chat, you can see I mentioned their actual name, but I'm trying to find their Discord name.
Moderator only. What? I have no idea who this is. What? I have no idea who that is.
Really?
maybe I do. It's not
You
immediately.
do. You invited them.
What? Okay.
Here, check chat again.
I don't know that name.
Crazy. You invited them, so I don't know. Let's see. I can actually do it by this. I got this.
I mean,
the user is Dio.
Oh, I've seen the name around.
Oh, Dio.
Yeah, I saw them here last night.
Yeah. They're like an incredible artist, and it was like awesome because they're like another professional in like a highly regarded field, and just like again, just another one of the artists where I never thought I'd ever actually interact with them, and yet here I was, just like shooting the shit with them.
Oh,
this morning.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. More of that, I think, coming.
That's awesome. Yes, it's completely insane. You're
I mean, it's like it's not that hard. Like it's like fantasy artists, like people who work in the entertainment industry, they're not like that hard to get.
I guess. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't know. It seems like it would be. And I think that's part of why I'm really grateful for the Discord in like a greater sense. Is like everyone here is just like an artist, and even professional artists are just like humans. And
yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, there's a huge disparity in communication, despite being in the same field. And giving like a space where those artists are like making time to reach out with the community that they're a part of and just like immerse themselves in their peoples is like really awesome. And it's like part of the reason why Miniatures Den is awesome, because it's, it feels like some of the best artists in the world either intentionally close themselves off or they just distance themselves over time from the rest of the community so intensely that they feel untouchable or interactable, and that's just like not the truth. And so like Miniatures Den and you, it feels like are like giving people an opportunity to actually interact. And like that's new, and it maybe is one of those things that should have happened a long time ago and just never did. So yeah, this is like a huge dope step in the right direction.
It's weird to me. Like,
it took anyone else doing it.
None of that sounds right at all to me. But like the, I do like it. We moved away from like people being on forums to people all like being on social media, and on social media, it's more of a broadcast medium than like a place where people go to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I certainly don't go to Twitter to go like have conversations with people, or like, I'm not like meeting people on Instagram. I'm finding people to follow, and I might go, oh my God, we're mutuals. But like, that doesn't actually manifest into anything ever unless we're like also happen to be at an event.
Mm-hmm. So you disagree with my sentiment?
Well, it's like, I think that like, I wonder if maybe I disagree with it just that it's like hard to get a hold of people like this. Because like when I actually end up in a room, like if I go to a convention and a bunch of people are in a room, it's not like they're like, they're not awkward about like, status or whatever. There's not a lot of status in being a artist, a genre artist especially. And so it's like, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I'd ever meet you. And you're like, I guess, well, it's like, when are you going to meet people? It's like, there's just not a super great opportunity for it. So like, I think back when like things were more of like a community spaces were just like the way that we did the internet, it was maybe a little bit easier to just like, you go on a forum and it's not that weird that professional people are there making comments too. While maybe it's like a little stranger now on social media that you're like, oh my God, people are noticing me. But like, Discord is a lot more like a forum than it is like social media. So I wonder if maybe it's just a byproduct of that.
I think that's probably a nail on the head if I had to take like a guess. I think you said effectively what I might have been trying to say, but maybe with less of an assertion that it was intentional. Like, I think you're right. I don't think artists intentionally like distance themselves.
No, I just don't. I just think like the way that we experience artists in culture right now is often them broadcasting and not them like spending time in social spaces.
Yeah, that checks out.
Hey, take care of yourself, Summer Dragoness. Yeah, I think we find without a mod on Twitch. Jay's here. Jay, you can watch the chat, right? In case anyone starts screaming the N-word or whatever.
If you want to give me perm, sure.
Wait, didn't you already? I thought I already did this.
Nope.
All right. Go ahead and like say something in the Twitch chat, and I'll like right-click you.
Let me go ahead and get in there.
Oh, Del Monza says Roddy Mullen still skates. He's like nearly 60. That's cool.
I feel like if you hurt yourself when you're 60, it's like you're like done for.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I always thought skating was cool. I never got into it. And like now I definitely don't feel like, of all the things that I feel too old for, skating is like high on the list because it's like the chances that I would get severely injured seem higher. Wait,
I wouldn't get. I went
what
ahead
do you do
and
to
posted
promote?
it
Let's
in
see. Oh wait, mod fancy sauce. There we go. There you go.
Shoot, I'm 20 and I feel like I'm too old for skateboarding.
What is shield mode? I don't know what that is, but
Shield mode? I don't know. 57.
gotcha.
Guy Payne say, hey, I like your Fallujah album cover. Thank you.
First time chatter. Let's go.
Let's go. What a good opportunity. I'm so glad they contacted me. I want to do more album cover deals like that where they just like take my art and make it more famous. That'd be sweet. If anybody's got like a really successful band and you want to pay only modest rates for a cover, but you want it to be my art, like just let me know which piece you want.
Nope.
Be like Fallujah. Yeah, most people like want original stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but the stuff here, you know, is already good. So let's do that. All right, I'm gonna add some color to this. There's like, I was doing this thing. I'm gonna do back in time a little bit. I was doing this thing where I was like just adding color to like select pieces before. But I like the way that all this stuff looks at a distance when I've been doing my more traditional coloring mode. Ooh, look at these. This color might turn out. Come on, let's see if this is good. Nothing too crazy. Look at that. Oh God, every time. This one keeps doing such a great job. Like laying down a base. I wonder if I could figure out, like maybe make some different versions of this. I want to try maybe an inside out one. Where instead of like a warm color flanked by cool colors, or a cool color flanked by warm colors, maybe I do like an inverted one. It's maybe too blue.
I'm always still astounded how quickly you block in a really good, grayscale, that like volume sketch or value sketch. It's like insane. Well, you did that. How long did it take you to do that? I guess you
This?
see.
I've been on for like an hour and a half.
paint
So I spent like, I mean, there's a certain amount where I'm like not working or I'm like looking at other stuff. So I spent like an hour on it. There was a lot of like messing around with the face this time out. I'm not even like 100% on it.
If someone handed you a drawing, like theoretically, how long would it take you to just like block in the values, and you didn't have to worry about making the shapes? The shapes are already kind of presented to you.
A few minutes.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, I can do it one of these times where like I kind of wanted to do a thing on the server where we do like a line art color or whatever.
Few minutes. Whew, my lord.
Maybe Neil can like lend us a really good clean line art that we all try to paint up.
Oh yeah, I've got a ton of that.
That'd be fun. We'll kind
bunch
of
of
do our own.
unfinished line
I was thinking about doing this for a bit, and I wasn't quite sure what we could use for it, but I think your art would make for a really good, like, fun coloring project for anybody who wants to like try out painting but doesn't want to like go through the process of having to like work out a drawing first.
Oh, that'd be cool. I would be super excited to see like a bunch of people try to paint one of my things.
All right, pick something out and like pitch it at me, and then we can. Oh no, Stevie,
right, yeah.
come back. Why, was Stevie here, then Stevie left? Stevie just quit the server? What's going on? Study, then drink.
He's not in chat.
Oh.
Oh my god, my heart.
I'm gonna make this new gradient. Oof, I love this one. God damn, what is up with this that it like works so good? I don't remember when it got made or what I like made it for, but it's been like this magic bullet for like instantly blocking in like worms and cools. Like it's like it doesn't fully like for a while I thought like, oh, I need a gradient map that's going to add something that looks like a full color palette. But what this does is it gives like a sense of like lighting and volume to it as a base, so that I can actually do the real coloring, the real colors on like a future layer, but I get this variation built into it. It's like it as like a baseline to add variation. This gradient map has been like magic for me, and I just keep reusing it like day after day. I look through the whole selection. I just keep coming back to it. Yeah, Neil, like go ahead and like pick out something and run it past me, and I'll like just so I could just do a sanity check on it to make sure that we're on the same page about what we need here. And then I'll like make a little thing where we do a maybe tomorrow's Friday. So like maybe tomorrow I'll like drop something and be like, "Hey, let's all do a if people don't want to like draw something up original, but they want to experiment with something as like a weekly challenge, we'll do like a week long like take some time and try to do your own color painted version of a Neil Gray original."
Oh, man, that's cool. I'll put them all on my Twitter.
Yeah, it could be really fun. See everybody's different take on the color palettes and like different painting styles and stuff.
I feel like I couldn't not ask, but like, what if I presented you the Goatman line art? I had to ask.
I don't know. I mean, you're already doing something else with it. I want this to just be like a
valid,
its own thing. All right.
What was the oldest magic set you worked on? I can't think of it in my head.
I was accidentally sent a box of Mirrodin, not Mirrodin, Mirrodin. Where are all the fucking Phyrexia? A new Phyrexia. I accidentally was sent a box of new Phyrexia, even though I didn't work on it. So whatever came right after that, like the first cards I did was
Innistrad.
Was it? Oh yeah, so Innistrad might have been like the first ones that I worked on. But like I had an island that was in like M12 or whatever it was called.
Okay. Sure.
And then there was a commander set that year that I did, Animar Soul of Elements, which is still fucking played today. And that was that was my first card, was Animar.
Just one of the strongest, most completely unreal commanders.
Yeah, and like it was at a time when I was really anxious about doing a good job on Magic because it was like my first commission. So I like worked my ass off on it, but it was also like kind of up my alley. It was like a good match for me. So that is still like, it was like first thought, best thought. It was like the very first time I tried to work on Magic. I ended up doing a piece that was actually pretty good, and
it had good text on it.
And like, it had good text on it, and so like it has like more of a life than just about anything else I've made. Like the other 50 Magic cards I did next were like kind of like, other than maybe the Theros gods, were kind of like less important than just that first time out.
Prime time. Like Primeval Titan.
Oh, I wish I had done a better job on that painting. Fuck.
Got a lot of attention, of course.
I like Tibalt. Nobody played him, but like I remember.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be a big moment because I like fully created Tibalt, and then like.
Really? Wait.
Yeah, like I designed him. Like.
No. Oh, he's one of the best designed planeswalkers. Like no cap. They just keep putting shitty text on his card.
Yeah, exactly. So like I got to. They like, oh, they just gave me a written description, and they're like, make this half fiend guy, and so it wasn't like I didn't like so when I say I created Erebos, God of the Dead, I mean like I didn't make the name, but I literally did like the entire concept of the character, and like everything about them visually was fully made by me. And so it was like the entire idea of the undead in Theros was my idea. They didn't even know what they wanted their non-human black creatures to be. And I was like, I'm going to do undead. And they're like, we don't know. You're going to have to really sell us on it. Like, it wasn't even like a thing that they asked for that I ended up creating for them. With Tybalt, like, they had the whole concept that they described to me, but I got to do the character design and the first illustration. And so every work of Tybalt since then has been quoting back to design work that I did for that card. Something which I was not paid extra for. Like, the fact that they own the character design and they continue to get to leverage the IP, but they only paid for the illustration is still kind of crazy to me. Like, there's so many layers of IP that just, like, get used without any attribution or like back pay, or I mean like royalties or whatever, additional licensing. And it's like, looking back on that now, I'm like, I cannot believe that they continue to get away with that, like, year over year. People aren't just like, wait, you're just gonna like I saw one, like, Wes Burt was posting like there was like a Hot Pockets licensing deal or something for Magic the Gathering. Where he's like at the grocery store and there's a bunch of like Planeswalker illustrations like in the freezer aisle, and I'm just like, man, we got to get one of those WGA strikes for us for sure. Like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't know if that was his or for somebody else's, but like, they're gonna put your shit on like a licensing deal for like frozen food, and you just get paid $0 for it. They're like, oh yeah, this is only gonna go on a Magic card. We'll pay you $2,000, and then like go and make like a multi-million-dollar like licensing deal using that art as the backbone, and be like, oh yeah, we made that. That's a copyright Wizards of the Coast, so we don't owe anybody anything. It's like, yeah, fuck off.
Yikes. Sorry, I feel bad bringing up Magic because I love what you do with Magic, and then I feel it always like,
it's not that I'm like that hurt by it. I just like want to remind people that like these financial situations are not as normal as we treat them. Like, people need to just like, if people collectively were all just like, yeah, this is not normal what's happening, then there would be some potential negotiating power to like change the way that this kind of stuff is done. But because everyone treats it as normal, the abuse continues completely unabated. And I just like, I feel like it's my duty to continue to remind people it's not normal for them to pay you a fee for one thing and then turn around and use it for like what's potentially a colossal amount of reuse afterwards with no payment or attribution. And like, we can do better, other industries do better. It's like not that big of an idea. It's normal, it's cool, it would be great to have, it would benefit everybody, except for the shareholders of Hasbro, who I don't give a fuck about. I don't know why anybody would stand up to defend a bunch of billionaire asshole executives who are the only ones who are ultimately benefiting from the current status quo. But here we are.
Have you looked into the Graphic Artists Guild at all?
I don't know much about it.
Heard of it? Oh, because they always published guidelines.
I used to have one of those
contracts.
Books. Yeah, back in the day.
They're still around, but they publish guidelines on what to charge, and usually we're a little bit higher than what most places would pay, but it would give you some insight.
Yeah.
But I don't know of any organization that handles all this kind of content and IP. It'd be nice if there was a place like that. I don't know what the Graphic Artists Guild is doing now.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's like actually a guild or if it's just like an organization that does advocacy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was just a nonprofit thing, from what I remember. And you just bought the book, and you can join or sign up for it. but I have not been a member of it for many, many years.
Steve, you're a 3D sculptor, right?
No, I do a lot of stuff. I'm a creative retoucher, digital artist, and 3D person. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I remember we had a discussion a little while ago. I just your name rang the bell.
Oh, that was the goat thing. What was it? Iraq or something? The goat name? It was Urdu for goat.
Yeah, it's, you said Bakra, and I went with Bakranos.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it's funny that conversation was with you. It feels so long ago. It was only like a month ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I think what was the? There was a Star Trek thing, or maybe Ferengi. You ever heard? There's a creature called Ferengi or something like that. It's got big ears and stuff.
I'm not a huge Star Trek guy, although everyone says I should watch it. Sci-fi is just like not quite up my alley. I've tried.
No, it's cool, but Ferengi means foreigner.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and they use a lot. I don't know who came up with all the words for some of it. I think it was Star Trek.
That's Star Trek.
It was Star Trek.
That was.
I remember that.
I think the Ferengi, they got introduced in Next Generation. They were a big part of Deep Space Nine.
What was that? Yeah, I can't follow everything, but.
I don't follow that stuff either, but I mean that was just broadcast television when I was the right age, and so I'd seen a ton of it. That was just like we were.
Yeah, if you didn't catch a show, you didn't catch a show, right?
Yeah, well, they were all episodic. I mean, you just
I
you catch these odd episodes, and then you're like, wait, well, what's going on? This is a two-part. This is the back half of a two-parter. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's so different today. You can look up everything, pretty much. So,
I think there's like a big talk about how like releasing on a weekly basis actually drove a ton of engagement, and that's like why Amazon Originals went back to like a weekly. Amazon and HBO went back to weekly releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney Plus did a little bit of that too.
But they also how many episodes is in a Star Trek season? I mean, this is something that somebody could look up. It's like you think about like how many episodes are in like a season of like Stranger Things or The Witcher. It's like what, like 8, 6 in some cases. Like I think a season of like, let me look up like how many episodes were in a season of Star Trek. TNG. Let's say season 3. How many episodes are there? 26 episodes. That's pretty normal, but that's like, I mean, I guess it's not normal anymore. Could you imagine Netflix releases a new series and it's 26 episodes long in a season?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Is that high? Are you saying it's high or low?
It's way high for what we have nowadays. Like 26 episodes, that's like more than double what we would ever get. Oh, Victor Doblé art rated with 1 person. I appreciate it, and I missed it. Like the sound notifications are not working for me for some reason right now. I figured out how to fix it last time, and after my power went out and came back on, I haven't been able to get sound notifications.
I'm sorry, I accidentally went to like Discord to check a message really quick, and of course I missed the raid to tell you. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
It's my one job.
One job, Jay.
I know.
26 episodes is always low production costs and lots of filler. Dude, I would love for them to bring back 26 episodes. Like I
agree.
I mean, it's like everything's got to be like shitty CG all the time. Like when they had 26 episodes of TNG, like they had to write a lot of good episodes. Like you had to rely on really good scripts to make 26 episodes of television. The writers' rooms were like crazy involved in the production, while nowadays it's like they're like, we need 10 episodes of fucking whatever so we can have the characters be in the right place at the right time so we can like talk about this one moment on Twitter. And like, I do not think that the two compare to each other, like how it used to be versus how it is right now. It was always better back in the day, is what I'm saying. Back in my day, that's when we got really good television. Like Nash Bridges. People don't even know who Don Johnson is anymore.
He's in Django.
Yeah, I guess he's still working, isn't he?
Yeah, he was in Django. He was the what was that? The guys on the horses. I forgot what his character.
You're talking about the KKK guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say the name.
But yeah. That's Don Johnson. He used to be a detective on broadcast TV.
Miami.
But he
Vice.
a couple of times. He was Miami Vice, and then he was Nash Bridges. He got that job a couple of times, and he was also the main character in A Boy and His Dog, classic 1970s sci-fi movie that basically defined the post-apocalypse genre. Like, if you ever want to see Fallout the movie, but done in 1970s style in a way that would absolutely never ever get made today for many reasons, but also low budget and also basically like the start of like this whole genre, it's definitely worth the look from a kind of curiosity perspective. It's about a young man traveling through the wasteland with his psychic dog. The dog has a lot of speaking lines.
Oh God, I don't remember. I do not remember that show.
It was not a show. It's just a movie.
A movie.
It's a movie.
I
Yeah.
didn't see it. I remember David Hasselhoff and what was his car kit. I don't even remember the name of the show.
Oh, that was Knight Rider.
Talk to his car. Knight Rider. That's right.
Yeah.
Now
Hey, David Hasselhoff.
now we
Remember you
talk
used
to
to
our
talk to your
phones.
car? Yeah, I guess we're not that far off from it. I mean, I talk to my car.
Oh, do you? No.
Yeah, I got CarPlay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everyone's got CarPlay now.
No, I don't. What model?
I have a
What year?
Ford F-150.
And what year is it?
Maybe a 2021.
Oh, so it's new. Yeah,
Yeah.
older.
Do you name your car? Because I feel like a lot of people name their cars.
A lot of people do name their cars. I have not.
Oh, that's a thing. Huh.
Yeah. My friend's car's name is Miles because it has over 300,000 miles on it. And it still somehow runs.
That's funny.
The weird blue hand is like an odd thing. This face is still jacked up. I cannot figure out how to get her facial expression to be the same way. And I'm trying to like make it easy on myself by like kind of fading out the values a little bit, hoping that like maybe if I don't need to get all the layers of value in there, that like the broader, as long as I get the broader shapes in correct, it'll actually like read really well and look kind of artsy. And instead, I think I'm just leaning left with like it looking even less like the original. Definitely getting something wrong. Likeness has always been a struggle for me personally.
Yeah, I think her nose is slightly longer. Maybe.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
Less of a space between her nose and top lip. Possibly. Who's the painting by?
I think it's a photo.
What's a photo? Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's got a very classical look to it.
Yeah.
Oh, the window seems to have frozen. That's excellent. All right, so time to save and reopen there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Vermeer painting style.
Studies number 62. It is. Is it frozen? Oh, it's not frozen. Okay. I don't know why it wasn't going back and forth then.
Like when Photoshop and Krita will just like stop responding for like no reason.
Oh yeah.
Would go back to normal.
As long as it goes back to normal, it's allowed to like head fake me. I don't mind too much.
All right. Thanks for the heart attack.
I mean, Photoshop's autosave feature works pretty decently. Don't mind too much.
Yeah. I'm always like really paranoid too. When I had that like really bad computer, it would like have problems all the time. So I just like, it's ingrained habits of me just constantly saving, constantly having like multiple versions of the file, and yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking a little bit yesterday about this too. The computer I had that would randomly restart, just like full on reboot. I would just start to see the BIOS come up just randomly sometimes it would do it twice in a row before I could reboot, but other times it would last for multiple days without doing it. And there was no, like, it was just totally random. And so I just got really, really good at smashing the Control S all the time. It's a good habit.
Do it. Treat it like your save's coming in a video game.
Yeah, every brush stroke that's in the right place, just smash Control S, and I was like, yes, and now I'm locked in. So Neil, are you picking out a line art for us to be able to work on this week?
Oh, not right now.
Oh, okay.
Is there a deadline?
I want it for tomorrow. So I was just wondering if you were excited about it, like maybe we could just pick out something today.
Okay. I just wanted to like get this looking presentable and then put it up on Twitter.
Sure.
That'll do it. Needs a little more. The keyblade needs to look a bit less rough. I need to figure out what to do with this fire. I want there to be like fire coming out of the lantern, I think. I don't know how people get their like sketches looking so pretty. Like, it's really hard getting everything in the right spot without it turning kind of like, I don't know, there's just like bits of like chopped up brush marks and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if some of it is like a process thing and some of it is just like people maybe trying to edit out the cringe before they show it to other people.
Yeah, possibly. Although I don't know, there's some artists who just put out massive amounts of sketches that like, you know, like they're kind of rough, but they're like rough in like a cool way. It makes me wonder if you just do it enough, like you can maybe get neater with it.
It's also tough to tell like what, you know, you are doing unintentionally that you wish you're trying to stop doing but you can't necessarily, that other people are actually loving about your work.
Oh yeah.
Like there's always stuff that I'm critical of that I find out people later actually really like about what I make, and it's like you know, it's vexing. You want to like have it be, you want to like, you know, have this perfect vision for the thing, right? And you're like, oh, I wish it was more like this, and everyone around you's like, no, don't do that, don't do that. I'm like fully obsessed with just getting this face to a certain point this time. Like the whole rest of the piece is kind of pleasantly sketchy. Or at least I feel at the moment like it's pleasantly sketchy. I might change my mind later. I might look at this later and go like, oh my god, I overworked the face and the whole thing's not done.
I don't know. Face looks good to me.
Well, I'm glad I got at least one vote of confidence here.
It's looking better, yeah.
Bit by bit, I'm starting to figure out like what are the important parts. Because there's always like, you sort of cycle through all these different little bits. I wonder, this is like an idea I want to express to people who haven't really gotten to art. The way that like when you're an artist, you don't just see things as like a complete arrangement, that you're kind of like constantly trying to filter your vision to notice different subsets of things, like only looking at the values or only looking at lighting direction or only looking at like color temperature or something. Like you're always kind of filtering through all these different things. And so when you're trying to work on a thing, you're making all these little corrections. It's often like you're not noticing like the whole way that the piece is coming together. You're just noticing like the bits that you are kind of mentally filtering for. I think everyone's capable of it, but like, you know, you learn kind of different ways of filtering your vision as you learn to paint more and draw more. And like those modes of looking are not always like, those modes of seeing are not always obvious. So it's not always clear to like a casual observer, like what you're looking at or what you're looking for. Everything just seems to be kind of coming together in a way that is like vaguely mysterious. And I'm finding that doing these studies is getting me to kind of like check myself on the way I'm mentally kind of filtering what I'm looking at, like choosing to filter for different things.
Yeah, it's important. We do a lot of creative retouching, so we have to put disparate elements together.
Mm-hmm.
So we're constantly breaking it down into a black and white. How's it looking in value only? And then, you know, you build on different parts. It's a good exercise to I think this is technique you're using is grisaille. It's value at first and then color after. Is that right? Yeah. So it's a kind of a interesting painting technique.
Yeah, I love it. I love working this way, and I never want to work differently.
Yeah, I did some back years ago. I did some egg tempera, and you just do it in a grayscale. It's a very interesting technique, and then wash over the painting layers. Just build it up. If anybody can take a painting techniques class, that's always good too.
Uh-huh.
Gives you a lot of insight.
Yeah, some of those classical techniques are still alive and well. People are out there making interesting stuff every single day.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you ever like find things in your painting that's like, damn it, I'm just drawing the same hand in the same position over and over again in
Yeah.
every painting? There's some examples of it I see in like other people's art too, where it's like really funny and like obvious that like, wait a minute, like all their characters have the exact same pair of gloves. Like every single character, regardless of what kind of character they are.
That's oddly specific. I'm trying to figure out who you're calling out here.
There's like what was his name? Wayne England. He was like an old school like D&D book like illustrator. I think he did a lot of Warhammer stuff too. But all his characters, regardless of I think all his fantasy characters, they all have the exact same pair of gloves for a while.
He's like, this is what fantasy is just this pair of gloves.
Yep. Don't need more than one.
I am worried that I'm potentially overworking and getting into stuff that I should just leave well enough alone. I'm already at about 2 hours, so I'm about at my cutoff point, but I haven't gotten to like huge chunks of this yet, just because I've been messing with the face way more than I normally do. Absolutely vexing me.
Yeah, it's always the worst when you like, oh man, like getting the likeness and proportions and stuff like that can eat up so much of your time when you're doing a study.
Yeah, well, I didn't try to manually check it, and I didn't try to like do a stylized drawing of it, and so I'm finding myself finding all these different aspects about it that are like I want to change here and there, and
Yeah, smooth faces are tough.
maybe it's fine. Maybe it's all good. I have a couple more things I want to maybe do on here really quick, and then I can call it a day.
Dude, Jay, I have no idea how you managed to fight Ruiner Nergigante like 100 times without getting inflicted with blood loss. Oh, is Jay even still in here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just working. I don't know. I just like bopped him over the head with a hunting horn a lot.
I was fighting him this morning and I got hit with blood loss like fucking 10 times or something ridiculous.
Is this Monster Hunter?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, just curious.
Oh.
I was like, hunting horn. This has got to be Monster Hunter.
Yeah. He's just way better at fighting this one boss than I am, somehow. Hey Pete, how do you not procrastinate?
I procrastinate all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I was working really hard for like about a month or so recently, and like recently I'm finding myself slowing down a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm trying to make sure that I don't lose the important stuff. But unfortunately, the problem with procrastination is it kind of exclusively affects the important stuff.
Yeah, oh god, that's super true, isn't it?
You can't you don't tend to procrastinate on things that like you don't care about. And so like procrastination is one of those great evils that like only hurts in the points where it matters.
Yep. I procrastinated so much the last couple days. Like, it's so bad. I didn't even like do anything really to procrastinate. I just kind of like
played Monster Hunter.
Yeah, like I didn't even play video games as much as I could have. I like checked my Twitter a whole bunch and like,
yeah, I've been there. It's like a lot of like I need something, I need some satisfaction or whatever, and like that satisfaction comes in the form of like refreshing on social media or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, okay, time to paint. All right, I'll like gather reference, and then I'll watch a YouTube video or whatever. And it's like 5 hours later.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't do any painting.
She did a lot of learning,
though.
No?
Maybe.
No?
I did gather some reference. There was that. I don't know. I always tend to procrastinate whenever I have to start a new drawing. Like now that I have like a drawing here, it's not too hard to like work on it, but I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, I have to start a new thing and I have no ideas.
I've been just getting better over the years at like knowing what my triggers are, I think. It's like the thing I'm doing to procrastinate is usually not the problem. Like if I can, muscle myself away from Reddit or whatever the hell I'm doing that's like I'm not supposed to be doing, I will just find something else. It's like it really is about the thing that I'm avoiding and not the thing I'm avoiding that I'm doing instead. So like it's really easy to blame the thing that you're doing to procrastinate, but I really think that it comes back to like the relationship with the task that you know that you should be doing.
Oh yeah, super true.
It's
not Monster Hunter's fault. In fact, drawing is hard.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like, it's a bit of emotional work, right? Because it's like the problem is not intellectual, it's not physical. Like, it's not because drawing is like so hard on your body that you're like, I can't bear to lift my arm up to the sketchbook.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's not like intellectually I don't know what to do. It's like you're like, I need to do this drawing of like a bunny girl or whatever. It's an emotional thing. You're like, I don't want to like fuck this up, or what are the kinds of feelings that you're having while you're like that it's like leading you away from working on it?
It's a few things. I really don't want to lose this momentum I have going on Twitter, right? Like, after that post blew up, I've been getting like a lot more engagement, and I'm like really anxious about like, oh no, what if I like don't post for a day and all this like extra engagement I'm getting just like dries up or whatever? Or what if I post like do like several posts and like all of them are bad and no one likes them and stuff?
Yeah.
So I feel like it matters what the next thing I do is, so I'm just like overthinking it massively. I have like a bunch of ideas and I'm not sure which one's the best one, and I'm also like afraid that they're not gonna turn out well. I'm gonna get like stuck on something or something. So yeah, spent a whole lot of time like not getting started. Yeah, I don't know. Part of it is like, I don't know. I'm like spending time doing these like weekly challenges or whatever. Like I'm doing the weekly challenge again, but I feel like it might be a good idea to do like fan art or something.
I would say fuck good ideas. Like
do whatever.
Yeah, like the thing that matters most is that like you're gonna it's like it doesn't matter what you do in the short term. Like the thing that's important is like how you attack like these important tasks like in the long run. So it's like it's not about like, oh, your Twitter engagement's going to go away if you don't like have a follow-up that's amazing. Like it's more important that like you are continuing to produce work that is the sort of work that you want to build your career out of.
Yeah.
And so it's like you should be making the kind of work that you want to make more of, and you should be making sure that you are posting regularly onto the places where people are going to see it. And so like I think that comes in the form of like you can't be worrying like being like, well, what if nobody likes the next post? It's like you don't get any fucking control over that. It's like you just have to make the stuff that you want and then like make a schedule for when you're going to post. Like you need to when it comes to emotional labor, okay, here I'm like thinking through these ideas and like I'm slowly piecing it together in my own head. All right, the advice that I've given a lot of times and the thing that's worked for me is when I'm dealing with something that is like emotionally difficult, like it's leading to procrastination. the best solution for me has been to externalize the systems. So it's like, you know, you don't get to choose to feel differently about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not like, oh, I'll just not be feeling stressed that, like, I have this opportunity to succeed on Twitter and I might squander it. Like, that's just like how you're going to feel about it, and you don't get to choose to feel differently. So wanting things to work out well and wanting things to be different are like both pretty fruitless efforts. So like my recommendation is to externalize the process as much as possible. And so I really think things like making a calendar for when you're supposed to be posting. Like if you don't want to post too often, but you don't want to post too little, you just say like, well, I'm going to post like Mondays and Fridays. And then from there, you put it on a calendar and you then decide what posts are going to be on there. And you just like schedule and plan it in advance so that it's not a thing that you are having to emotionally grapple with, but it's like an externalized process that has like, it's written on a sheet of paper that you literally just need to like follow the instructions as written. And in that way, like, you know, you're doing your planning, you're making considered choices, but you're not turning them into like big emotional decisions that are like going to lead you to unproductive, like avoidance behavior.
Yeah, actually, one thing that's helped me a ton with like being more productive is just like scheduling my day. Like if I have a chunk of time set aside where it's like, okay, this is drawing time, like I'm actually way more likely to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, like procrastination I feel like comes from like a bunch of emotional stuff, right? But it's actually, the emotional stuff isn't so overpowering that it like prevents you from doing the thing at all, but like the combination of that and then like bullshitting yourself by just like not keeping track of time and stuff. So it leads to a lot of procrastination, at least for me. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of self-deception that comes in where you're like, oh, I'm just going to play one round of StarCraft just because I need to clear my head before I get to my email.
Yep.
You know? And
Yeah.
it's always something like that. It's like, you know, you are trying to escape whatever feeling that is like causing you to struggle. Like, and it's, like I the only thing that's ever worked for me in terms of like reducing the kind of emotional load of a thing is really just externalization. So this is why I've kind of got, if you ever hear like the fondness of my voice when I start talking about something like Obsidian, it's not because like I love being organized. It's like because I have felt like I have this burden on my chest when it comes to handling things that matter. And the more they can like be a burden to a list on Obsidian and less to me personally as like a human being, like the more I feel like my quality of life goes way up. And so I've grown to have a little bit of an affinity for these tools because they are like, they're an externalization of these of like the things that I need to do, like of these important parts of my life, like, you know, the business I'm doing, the promises I've made to myself, the promises I've made to other people. Those sorts of things, they weigh on me when I try to like consider like the consequences of me not doing them, or me fucking them up, or me like, you know, because there's plenty of times where I have let myself down, let other people down because I'm like just not being serious, not being focused, not like doing what I promised I was going to do because I'm get anxious about it, and then I try to avoid that feeling of anxiety by like doing something that makes me feel good, and then I end up not doing anything at all. And like,
yep,
God, everyone's done that to some degree, but I've had it grow out of control to like a really bad degree at times. And as I've like gotten better at no longer doing that as much, like that's really like coincided with my like effort to externalize all of those obligations into organized email, organized tasks. Like right now my email's in pretty bad shape. Like my email's been in amazing shape recently, but like right now it's kind of shit. Like there's a few days, like there's stuff that was like, hey, 24-hour reminder from 2 days ago. Oops, like that's gone. Like that window's closed. That's not been my story recently so much. So I've got to get in there. Like I had a choice this morning between either doing leg day, a thing I was putting off constantly and feeling like I'm permanently like stupid and bad at that, and like it's like a sign I'm going to be like a failure at like my health ambitions forever, and like catching up on my email that I'm like behind on and I'm letting people down, and you know there's this, I'm just going to like slide back into like extraordinary amounts of unproductivity for like months at a time, and this is just the beginning of like a long and gradual decline. Like there's a lot of potentially anxious stories I can tell myself about both of these things, and I was like, I would rather do leg day than catch up on email this morning. And it's like part of it is just because like I have more confidence in myself to get back to my email and get on top of it than I have faith in myself to like get back to leg day tomorrow. You know, like, right. So I'm choosing to go with the thing that I'm least, that I'm more, I feel like I'm more likely to fuck up in the long term. And, you know, I believe that I will get back to being on top of my email and on top of my tasks. And I've been working really hard. It's not like I've been a lazy piece of shit. I've just been, you know, sometimes letting priorities get out of hand, and I've been taking on too much. So it's, you know, I having gotten a handle on it a little bit, I feel a little bit more comfortable with like having faith that it's going to return back to a good time. That I'm gonna be back to like being better at this. But if you don't have that like faith in yourself that you're really gonna pull that off, it can be even more emotional load that you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a piece of shit forever, and like I'm gonna screw up this opportunity like the last time I screwed up one of these opportunities. Like, so you don't get to like feel differently. You only get to like make different choices about your actions, and that comes back to like, I think externalizing is just like one of the best possible choices to prevent negative outcomes.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like to that note, I feel like the reason I started this attempt at a business is because I talked about starting my own like thing and then talked myself out of it so many times, or like it just fizzled, that this time I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, and if it doesn't work, then like, oh well, but at least I can say I tried. Because,
Yeah.
you know, like everyone's like, man, you kept saying you're gonna start that or this, and you know, it was a really good idea, and like we had a lot of confidence in it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I worked myself into like anxiety about it, and then instead of dealing with it, I just did other things, and until it fizzled. And this time, everyone was like, bro, you can't walk away from this one. You just got to do it. And so I did. And it's funny enough, it might be like one of the riskier things I'd thought of that like I'm confident in now, but it started off as like really shaky, and I committed to a shakier idea than I had ever thought of probably in the past. So, but here we are, you know, it's got to sometimes do it.
Yeah. I mean, with Huckleberry, it's like I've been thinking about doing educational stuff for a really, really long time. It's been a good idea for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And I've been putting it off, and I haven't been doing it. And I keep like telling myself, oh, today's the day where I'm going to go like write or record a script for like the YouTube channel or whatever. And then I keep failing and letting myself down. And it's just like, there is no version of yourself that's going to be like fulfilling all of your promises forever. Like, you're just going to keep fucking things up. Like, we're all going to keep fucking things up. It's like this. I've been thinking a lot about this idea of resilience. That like, the real thing that we're after is not never making mistakes ever again. It's like bouncing back from those mistakes better, and like a commitment to keep bouncing back. After you like say, well, today's the day where I'm going to like post on Twitter, and then you just, because like I need to like share my art, and then you don't. It's like you'd stare that fact straight in the face and go like, all right, I'm going to take a different strategy at this, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take another swing at it today.
Yeah.
Like, let's like take a serious look at like why I didn't do those things or why I made that mistake or what's really weighing on me when it comes to this thing that is like in my life that is stressing me out, and like approach the problem seriously and honestly, and like don't get caught up in some larger narrative about what it means that you fucked it up. Like
just work through it instead of like sitting in it. It's like really easy to fester and just like be mad at yourself and be like down about the experience. But
I mean, like
if you just like work through it like really intently,
there's a lot of things that like people fuck up in their life that's just like way more important and way harder to come back from.
Yeah,
we got a set of pretty easy problems generally. It's like it's still they feel pretty heavy, but it's just like it's like this is not the right advice for like really really huge problems in somebody's life, but like
right
when it comes to I have plans for like how to promote my art, and I keep letting myself down, and I keep telling people I'm going to do it, and then I keep not doing it, and like I keep wanting to finish it and I keep not finishing it. Okay, like let's just acknowledge that's happening, and then like change strategies. Like if it's not working, like let's just assume that like you're never going to have any more willpower and any more wisdom than you do today. So like let's just see if there's a different like tactic that we can use to try to connect A to B. Like for me, that's been my mindset for like a lot of problems that I'm dealing with when I'm managing myself. Is not like, okay, I need to be smarter, I need to be harder working, I need to be like more committed. It's like I told everybody I was going to do that thing and then I didn't. Like whatever way that I use to schedule myself, or how I'm spending how I'm scheduling my day, or like whatever I was doing beforehand, or like there's got to be some sort of like practical controllable circumstance around the thing that I can change in order to get to the results that I want, because I'm not going to change that much. I'm still just going to be the same asshole that I was yesterday. Like it's safe to presume that. And so like let's control for that and then see what else is available as far as options go. Let's try writing it down. Let's try journaling. Let's try switching out when I'm going to be working out. Let's try seeing if there's somebody who I can outsource this to. Like what kinds of very obvious advice and tactics of the many billions of bits of advice that are out there on the internet can I apply to this situation to see if any of them are going to actually get me to the results that I'm looking for. Because like me expecting myself to just behave differently magically tomorrow is like not a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I zoom in on the face and the reference together, I feel like I just got a way clearer sense of the things I was fucking up. Just like, I was like, how come I can't see what's going on in the face? It's like I had the reference small and the painting big. And I kept wondering why I didn't have very good perspective on it. It's just like what I'm talking about. Like the circumstances of the work often matter. And that comes down to scheduling, environment, what you're doing right beforehand, like how you've laid out your workspace, shit like that all adds up a lot. And it's never to be discounted. The tangibles are really important. Don't get too sucked into the intangibles. If you want to post more on social media, you've got a bunch of options to try. One of which is get your dad to do it. I was gonna say like get your girlfriend to do it or whatever, but I mean you live with your dad, it'd be like, Dad, can you run my Twitter for me? I'll respond to people, but I keep not posting, and I need somebody to do it, and it's like it just freaks me out, and I have a hard time with it. Like that's what I do with my doctor's appointments. That's how I get doctor's appointments made. It's like I realized that it stressed me out in a way that was like really hard to overcome, and so I just have Anya do it.
That's like very real. No, hold on. My partner's the same exact way. Phone calls. She's like one of her things with like she's autistic. One of her things is that like she really really struggles with communication, especially with like phone calls. It really freaks her out. she feels like there's like a list of things that freaks her out about phone calls, and one of the things that I do for her is make her appointments for like important things, and it's just like a workflow thing. It's just very normal.
Yeah, it's like we think like, oh, I should be able to handle this. Oh, let's just assume you can't. I mean, you've proven you can't. Like, if you keep finding yourself being let down, just like maybe it's like one of the options, a really serious option is like, yeah, this is not something that you're going to be able to do consistently. So, like, is there a solution that doesn't involve you having to, like, get stuck with it being your problem?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure. It's just like, and
task?
like, she like beats herself up about it, and I'm like, fine. Just like, like a big problem is that
I feel super clever for getting Anya to make my doctor's appointments. I don't beat myself about it ever.
Well, the big problem is that she like waits until it's like I need a doctor tomorrow, and I'm like, well, we really can't do that. It's really not how doctors work nowadays, and so like it becomes a stressful thing because it's been kind of procrastinated upon.
Sure.
But yeah. It's like, oh, why doesn't my prescription just like always work? Like, why do I need to keep going back to a doctor for something I need? And I don't have any more of this medicine, and I've got 3 days left of it, and I need a doctor to like re-prescribe it. I'm like, okay, well, let's just like see if
yeah.
like
Looks like
urgent
somebody
cares.
knows how to procrastinate really good.
And so, like, you know, we just hope and pray a lot of the times that the urgent cares, like, the doctors there are legally allowed to prescribe the stuff that she, like, sometimes needs. So, but yeah. No, I mean, it's, like, not a big deal. It's just, like, part of life.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my solution to getting my taxes done every year is I hired an accountant.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I had a bad accountant because what he would do is he would ask, I would take my taxes in and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so fucked. I don't know what any of this stuff is and I don't know what I need. And like, I have all these documents, but they're not really well organized and I don't know how to like pull apart the info that I need from them. And he would just ask me tons of questions I didn't know the answer to. And then and I'd be like, why are you asking me questions? I don't know fucking shit about taxes. And then I would ask him a question and he would go, oh, I don't know. And he would just Google it in front of me. I'm like, oh, I hate this. My current accountant, when I ask her for stuff, when I'm like, hey, I feel dumb and I don't know how this thing works, she either explains it or says, you don't need to do anything about that.
Awesome.
And it's like oftentimes it comes back. Oh, Deirdre, what's this? What does this form mean? Is this something I need to worry about? And she'll go like, oh yeah, I just filed it for you. Oh, okay, thanks. Well, I'll see you in several months when I have another question. Like it's like she always works to take stuff off of my plate instead of putting it on. Oh my God, having people in your life that like make things easier instead of harder for you. Like if you had a lawyer that like every time you went to them and like, I've got a legal problem, they just kept having a meltdown and like telling you like, oh man, law is so complicated and like freaking out and then asking you a bunch of questions about your situation, you'd be like, God, going to the lawyer is so fucking stressful. I can't deal with these problems. Like,
depending on what you need the lawyer for, you might be like, oh God, I'm so fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, my accountant, that account I had was fucking terrible. I mean, maybe it was just like he was the wrong kind of accountant. Maybe he's like a corporate accountant and he was like, you know, just like working with my family because like there was like a family friend connection or whatever. And then like we kept giving him a bunch of work that was like not the thing he knew how to do, and he was being polite about it. I don't know what the deal was, that like why he didn't know how to, why he was always just Googling shit in front of me and then billing me for it. Like that was the fucking worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, having resources in your life to be able to like answer difficult questions, it's so wonderful to have.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Are all
I don't
these
think
details making it worse or better? Ugh. She's like sneering now. Fuck. I kind of thought I was adding subtlety, and honestly, I think I'm just adding noise. I'm gotta be done. I'm gonna like clear up this head wrap a little bit, and then I'm gonna call it. I'm way over on time. You did not worry about whether or not people are going to like you or dislike you on Twitter. Social media is just a broadcasting thing. You do your best. You post your best content. Some people like it, some people don't. Sometimes you get a big-ass fucking bonanza, and sometimes you get jack shit. There's like so little association to like, you cannot use it as an indicator of quality or an indicator of future success. It's just like the attention that you get is valuable to you as a business owner. And like, you just need to leave it there. It is not, it's not something you can like have be a part of your identity. Because if you're doing great with it, it's just a countdown timer to like it not doing as great.
Yeah.
And if you're doing bad with it, it doesn't mean that you're actually doing anything badly. Like, you could be amazing and still have it go poorly for you. It's like, it's very, very random and not a reflection of like the way anyone actually feels about you or what you do. So like, just be thankful for the times in which it works well and keep trying at it, and do not get too wrapped up in it mentally. It's just not worth it.
Okay. Yeah, the thing that's been working for me is just telling myself like, okay, you did nothing yesterday, or like close to nothing. Just do something, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, even if I'm not necessarily posting my best work, just having something to post.
Get
most
something.
days.
Get something done. Get something posted.
Yeah, that's what's good about this this community you have here.
Yeah, stuff's happening every day.
You're doing something every day, or doing something every day. It's a supportive group, which is good.
Yeah, I've been going through like yesterday I was like feeling kind of down on like my painting ability, and Anya was looking at it, she's like, I have no idea what your problem is. This looks fine. And I'm like, she's like, this is a good one. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. That's probably true. Doesn't mean it didn't feel like differently about it.
Okay. Damn.
And it's just like, we don't get access to like an objective kind of reality, especially about ourselves. So like, trying to like overly worry about it, it's just like not a big deal. Just got to make sure that like you turn in the time. Okay. I'm calling this done. I'm saving it out. We got to raid somebody. I'm gonna log out, and then I'm gonna take a look and see, do I have shit on my calendar for the rest of the day? It'd be great if I did. Oh my God, Sarah's texting me about hanging out. It's gonna happen.
Nice.
Parent night at something at Kuba's school. Oh, I'm not going to go to that. No way. All right. Yeah, this face isn't too bad. Oh wait, there's some little. I just want to do the chin. Looks like it's kind of sticking out now in a way. I don't. There we go. Just adding a little soft focus probably helps. Focusing less on the details. Can't hurt. Add a little sfumato. All right, calling it. Mitchy Myers. Oh, wait. We got Streamer 1, Popo Nut, and Mitchy Myers. Two good names. Can we get some votes here on whether we're going to go for a Popo Nut or Mitchy Myers? I feel like whenever there's a choice, I'd prefer that somebody else makes it for me.
I feel like you can't go wrong with Popo Nut.
I feel like saying it out loud. I'm like, everyone's gonna vote for Popo Nut. That's a good ass name. Oh, it's not Pop Nut. It's Popo Nut. Popo Nut. Oh God, Popo Nut. That's also pretty good. All right, saving out some files. Got a lot of votes for the nut. Anyone? Any love for Michi? Sorry,
Gotta
Michi.
be some Michi stands.
All the Michi stands are out there somewhere else.
We'll double down on the nut.
Popo Nut's getting the vote. Always vote for.
The name's hilarious.
You can always bank on the nut. I forgot to post my daily yesterday because I normally do it on stream, not because I actually want to stream it, but just so I'd never forget it. And then I decided, oh, no one wants to watch me shuffle JPEGs around. I'll do it later. And then I almost forgot and didn't upload it yesterday. Oh dang! Silight's using the Chrome brush and doing awesome looking shit.
Oh, this in dailies?
In dailies, yeah. And Phil's doing cool ass pieces. Fijoto's killing it.
Why does the Chrome brush make awesome stuff for everyone else, and then when I do it, it makes horrible stuff?
I don't know. Maybe have you considered that there's something wrong about you as an individual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it must be something like that. Moral failing of some kind.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was struggling with the face the last minute last time, and so this time out I was like, I want to go really hard on the face. Okay. Great. Fantastic. I'm all posted up, and now I just need to go to twitch.tv/poponut. That's so memorable. And then send the raid over there. /raid Poponut.
Rolls off the tongue.
We gotta ask how it's intended to be pronounced when we get over there. All right, thanks everyone for showing up. We're gonna do Community Day tomorrow, and we're gonna be looking at all of the entries inside this week's challenge. You've got until noon tomorrow to make it happen. Noon Eastern tomorrow, and my friend who's a brilliant artist, Sean Andrew Murray, the creator of City of Gateway, is going to be joining us theoretically. He said he would on Wednesday. So yeah, it's nut time now. I'll see you on the other side.